You're sitting at the bar, and someone drops the question that makes every man within earshot lean in a little closer. When does female desire actually peak? And every guy instantly has the same default answer, the one that's been drilled into us since we were teenagers. The 20s, that's the biological prime. Every guy has a story, every guy has a theory. But let me tell you something, it's all a convenient lie. We've been sold a myth, a neat little narrative that simplifies female sexuality into a linear graph that starts high and then steadily declines, conveniently aligning with the male ego. Well, I'm here to tell you that the true story of female desire is more like a complex, volatile, uncorked vintage wine. And the best, most intense years are the ones we've been told are the wasteland. The answer isn't the 20s. It's not what the movies show you, and it's definitely not what your ego wants to hear. The truth is, a woman's sexual peak is most often in her 40s and 50s. And if you're not prepared for that truth, it will absolutely mess with your head. The great psychological release, dropping the backpack. Let's start with the mental switch. A younger woman, a woman in her 20s and early 30s, is often having sex from outside her body. She's performing, she's worried about her stomach, the lighting, weird noises, and what you'll think if she's too aggressive or not aggressive enough. She's judging her own performance. It's sex as an anxiety, a performance review, a relationship maintenance task. She's carrying a backpack full of rocks, insecurity, people-pleasing, constant worry about judgment. But what happens to a woman when she hits her 40s? Somewhere around 40, 45, she dumps that backpack in the trash. That self-consciousness, that fear of being judged, that need to perform, it all starts to erode. She's finally having sex from inside her body, fully present. She stops asking, "Do I look desirable?" and starts asking, "Does this feel good?" I remember seeing this with a client of mine, a guy who was newly dating a woman in her late 40s. He told me, "The difference is unbelievable. My ex, in her 30s, always tried to hide her body, angling herself in the dark. This new woman, she takes her clothes off like it's the most natural thing in the world. She's completely comfortable in her stretch marks and her earned imperfections. She owns her body, and that ownership is intoxicating." That is the difference between sex as performance and sex as genuine, authentic desire. 2. The circumstance trap, mom mode versus freedom mode. The second and perhaps most overlooked factor is life circumstance. Think about the typical 30-year-old woman. She might be at her so-called biological peak, but what is her life like? She's likely in the trenches. She's sleep-deprived from nursing babies, stressed about mortgage payments, worried about school applications. She is touched out from kids hanging on her all day. Her body might be young, but her life is exhausting her into numbness. She is so deep in mom mode that remembering she is a sexual being feels theoretically possible, but practically irrelevant. Her mind is occupied by the logistics of family survival. Now, fast forward 15 years. The kids are teenagers, self-sufficient, maybe even out of the house and in college. She's established in her career or comfortable with her choices. She's not exhausted from chasing toddlers. She has energy again. She has time again. She has mental space again. And guess what fills that liberated space? All that suppressed desire. All those fantasies she pushed down for a decade and a half, all that sexuality that was relegated to the back burner suddenly comes roaring to the front like a force of nature. Her body is finally her own again, and she intends to use it. If this truth is already making you look at the women in your life differently, if it's challenging what you thought you knew, that's exactly the point. We're here to shatter convenient lies. If you want to keep receiving these honest, uncensored truths about dating and relationships that the mainstream media won't touch, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't miss the next hard-won truth. Now, back to the part that men fear the most.
3. The volcano of desire. Hormones and the now or never urgency. Every man thinks that the approach of menopause, perimenopause, is when the shop closes for good, when female sexuality dies. Dead wrong. What happens during perimenopause is that a woman's hormonal levels become erratic and unpredictable. And for many women, this change creates a significant, unexpected surge in desire. They're no longer worried about getting pregnant. There's a biological urgency, a sense of now or never, that can make them absolutely ravenous. The truth is, many women are having the best sex of their lives in their 40s and 50s. They're just often not having it with the partner who stopped trying 15 years ago. Here's an anonymous example. I dated a woman going through perimenopause, and I'm not exaggerating when I say the intensity nearly killed me. She told me her body felt like it was on fire, like if she didn't have sex, she might actually lose her mind. She wanted it morning, noon, and night. She was ready to go at 3 a.m. It was a biological demand that superseded logic or convenience. This isn't a unique anomaly. It's a common, if rarely discussed, biological shift. Society tells her she's fading, but her body is telling her she's hitting her stride.
4. The core difference. Responsive versus spontaneous. You need to understand this key distinction. Young female desire is often spontaneous. Older desire is responsive. A 25-year-old might have sex with you because she thinks she should, because it's Saturday night, because she doesn't want you to be upset, or because that's what girlfriends do. It's spontaneous, based on social and relationship factors. A 45-year-old has sex with you because she actively wants to, because her body is demanding it, because she's finally learned to prioritize her own pleasure over your ego. Older women know exactly what they respond to. If you're not providing it, if you're phoning it in, they are not interested. They will shut down completely. They won't fake it to protect your feelings. They have decades of experience that tell them what works. But if you are providing it, if you're hitting those triggers they've identified over years of experimentation, the response is volcanic. The difference between having sex with a woman who tolerates it and a woman who craves it is the difference between a puddle and a tidal wave.
5. The tragedy of the man unprepared. Here's the tragedy, and I've watched countless friends live this out. Most men are completely unprepared for this reality. They spend their 20s and 30s coasting. They assume their young wife's sometimes tepid response is just how women are, that sex is something women tolerate rather than crave. Then they hit their 40s. Maybe they get divorced, and suddenly they encounter women their own age or slightly older who actually want sex, who pursue it aggressively, who know exactly what they want and are not shy about demanding it. And what happens? These men are terrified. They run back to the kiddie pool. They immediately start dating 25-year-olds, not because the sex is better, but because the 25-year-old is more likely to pretend to be satisfied with their mediocre performance. The younger woman's need for validation and insecurity is a shield for the man's ego. Meanwhile, their ex-wives are having mind-blowing sex with a man, maybe a personal trainer, maybe a younger guy, maybe a confident man their own age who appreciates what a sexually confident woman brings to the table. The sex drive wasn't dead. It was in a coma induced by boredom, routine, and a partner who stopped seeing her as a sexual being. If you're married to a woman in her 40s or 50s and your sex life is dead, it's not because she doesn't want sex. It's because she doesn't want sex with you the way you're currently offering it. She's craving something completely different than the scheduled Tuesday night obligation.
6. The final challenge. The truth about when women want sex the most isn't a simple age number. It's when life circumstances, self-knowledge, hormonal changes, and opportunity align. For most, this sweet spot is in their 40s and 50s. They've found their confidence, they've stopped caring about judgment, and their bodies are demanding satisfaction with an urgency that would shock their younger selves. The question isn't when women want sex the most. The question is whether men are prepared to handle women who actually want sex, who pursue it actively, who know what good sex looks like, and won't settle for less. Stop believing the cultural lies about female sexuality declining with age. Stop running from women who actually know what they want because it threatens your ego. The best sex of your life might be with someone society tells you is past her prime, but who's actually just hitting her stride. Tell me, have you personally experienced this shift? Or what do you think is the biggest myth about female desire? Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I read every one of them.